All right, everybody. Monday, January 26th. It's 8:13 p.m. We are the Sons of Saturday, and we are joined with Too Deep as well. This is our second episode in the new year. I can't remember if we did our Christmas special in the new year. I believe we did. But we're here to break down the ACC schedule, which came out today. Everybody give it up for the ACC, finally putting out the schedule. So glad to see it. If you do get a chance, please like, please subscribe. It does help, and we are here to cover Virginia Tech and the ACC with this new schedule. First thoughts. I want to get everybody's thoughts. My first thought was, wow, thank you so much for putting out the schedule with all of the games and doing the show versus making us watch 2 hours of ACC countdown. So, Pete, what was your initial thoughts? Can be schedule related, showing related, whatever.
The show itself is fine. I liked that they got to Virginia Tech really early in the show.
Yep.
That was much appreciated from my standpoint. I was cooking dinner, had it on in the background. But I did have a gripe with Jimbo Fisher. They're running this thing on ACC Network. They can't buy the guy a $100 microphone. He's using his laptop. He's in an office that has hardwood floors. You can't hear what he's saying. But Coach did have some good insights, despite being hard to hear.
I mean, this is the network that filmed, I think, its biggest game to date on like a Motorola Razr from 2009. So you're not going to get high. We love the ACC network personalities. You're not going to get a high production value. You just got to accept that going into the show.
Yeah.
I did not watch the show. I was hoping that when I saw the calendar come out of the Virginia Tech schedule, it was actually going to be in front of that 2 pieces of paper of the 2 weddings that I'm going to, and they just did like a reverse save the date, and they're like, oh, surprise, we're doing summer or we're doing spring. This schedule from Virginia Tech specifically, the first thing I was thinking is, did Rebecca Black create this schedule? Because I see Friday, Friday, Friday. Just interesting. We get the Friday or Saturday for SMU and a couple other Friday games here. So I thought that was interesting how we've totally shifted from a Thursday school to a Friday school, too.
Yeah, you might have to switch the name of the pod, guys, because we've got a quarter of our schedule potentially on Friday.
Fathers of Friday, Friends of Friday, whatever you want. There's multiple options.
I got to tell you, Pat, you probably just dropped the line of the entire pod in the first 3 minutes with the Rebecca Black comp. So for those of you that have not been paying attention, and honestly, it's still shocking when you read it now. So a couple of new ACC rules. In 2026, the ACC will move to a 9-game conference schedule. But will they actually? Because 12 teams will play the 9 ACC games in 2026. 5 teams will still play 8 games due to contractual obligations and scheduling balance. Those 5 teams are Boston College, Clemson, Florida State, Georgia Tech, and UNC. Starting in 2026, every team must play a minimum of 10 power conference opponents. This is why you saw the shuffling of the schedule that you saw with Virginia Tech, obviously not being as involved in some of the other schools. I'm not familiar what other schools what strings they had to pull or what changes they had to make, but in general, I have a really hard time being extremely mad at our current commissioner, but it just seems so strapped together. Like every time you see this, you're just like, ah, damn it. What's that meme? I think it's of a Philadelphia Phillies catcher who's watching.
Oh, it's Real Muto.
I feel like Real Muto every time that ACC puts something
He's
out
just
like that.
He's just shaking his head when the new pitcher's coming in. Yeah, that's what this is. It's almost as if we added 3 schools from not the Atlantic coast and then decided to change the schedule all in reactionary moves. Like all we do is react to what other leagues are doing and then do it. For example, hopefully they fix the tiebreaker thing. We don't know yet. They said they're going to fix it. But if that had been fixed last year, we wouldn't have had Duke against UVA in the championship game. But yeah, we've got 5 teams playing 8 games. We got 12 teams playing 9 games. And of course we're one of the 9. And just a Virginia Tech observation, we got 5 away games in year 1 of James Franklin. I feel like you're going to have this year in and year out. Like every other year, you're going to get the 5 away or the 5 home. And you want that to line up to a year that you are going to be competing, right? That's so all the things can come together for you. I think year 1, if we're going to get 5 away games and it's going to be a year of adjustments and figuring things out, that's probably the way you'd want to do it so you can hit the ground running in year 2 with less away games.
Well, Pete, obviously Jim Phillips wanted to give these guys a test, and I think there's a good opportunity here. I always like to tell the guys there's no growth in comfort, and I think this is a really good opportunity for us to make a statement going forward here in the first year in the ACC here with this football team.
Despite the travel schedule, Coach feels good.
Yeah, I think that's so. This schedule to me, like if I had to have a headliner for it, it is logistically more difficult than it is on the football field. Like you look at the teams Virginia Tech is playing, and there's very few where you're like, oh, that's going to be tough. I mean, the road games you got, like at BC, at Cal, all right, that's a team you beat last year, and BC was terrible last year. At Maryland wasn't good last year. We knew that was going to happen. Clemson was a dumpster fire last year, and I don't know how much better they're going to be this year. And at Miami on a Friday night, we've been pretty close in that one before, although the Canes will be very, very good, I assume. So if you look on paper, the 12 teams Virginia Tech is playing, it's not a murderer's row. I think the issue is what you alluded to, Pete. The distance of travel Virginia Tech has this season is probably the most you could possibly have in an ACC schedule. Now, the flip side of that, they avoid multiple back-to-back roadies, which is something that when I did my little prediction, which was horribly off, by the way, I put that out on Twitter.
Applause for you even trying it, though.
Yeah, man. It
took a while. It took a while. It took a while. I was correct on the 2 Friday night games being Pitt and Miami, though.
Okay.
Nailed that. So I'll count that as a W.
So let's start with Virginia Tech here, and I wrote down a couple of observations that I either saw under tweets or people were putting in. So a couple here. So no double bye because we do not play on week 0. So for those of you who are wondering why don't we have 2 bye weeks, that's why. I think in general, pretty challenging ACC schedule. And it's tough to do that because going into last year, you're thinking, Wake, they suck, automatic win. Nope, Wake actually is going to have one of the best years they've had in a long time, and they're going to be pretty damn good. So it's kind of hard to project forward. But 5 of the top 6 teams in the ACC last season are on this schedule, and that does not include Clemson, which is wild. So you have that. There's a brutal back half of this schedule. The last 5 games at Clemson, at SMU, Stanford, at Miami, and then Virginia. So that's what you have on the back half. Robert Irby pointed this out. We will go almost a month without a game at Lane Stadium. You're going from 10-17 to 11-14 without playing a game at home. What you're also not getting is not only not a game at home Halloween weekend, but no games at all on Halloween weekend. So Pete, Sam, Pat, myself will all be out trick-or-treating. Should be a really good time. And the last one that I have here, guys, it's kind of annoying that Clemson will go bye week, Charleston Southern, Virginia Tech, after we play our 7th game in a row to go into that 8th game, which is against Clemson. So there are a couple of Virginia Tech schedule observations. Any others that you guys have picked out from here?
Yeah, the ACC hates fall foliage because they refuse to give Virginia Tech a home game in mid to late October. They do it every single year. Virginia Tech does not get games in late October at home.
Why is that? That is
October
so
17th is it, and you're right, Sam. It's not quite full peak.
It's not.
Driving down.
They, for some reason, the schedule always shakes out that Virginia Tech does not play a lot of home games late October, early November. I don't know why. They always and this is maybe going back to the issues with the travel and how they're having to deal with that is I feel like Virginia Tech, they had it in the year where they played at Miami on a Friday night and then played at Stanford. They avoided something that drastic this time, but the Pitt game being in between BC and Cal, in between those road trips, I think is actually a massive win for this schedule because if you look out how it could have gone, there was only a few options to play on that slot that was open on the 26th, the slot where JMU was, which I'm sure we'll talk about. Your options were at Boston College, at Cal, at Clemson, and Georgia Tech. So getting at Boston College there to start out your ACC slate, again, another huge win for a team that's going to have a lot of young players.
I wanted to point out that we got those back-to-back road games at the beginning of the season. Sam said there's no double back-to-back road games. But back-to-back road games, period, aren't great. And if you can avoid them in a season, that is what you want. However, if you're going to play them early on against a Maryland team who went 4-8 last year and won only one Big Ten game, and then at BC, who was essentially the worst team in the ACC last year. So that is if you're going to do one, and you get to get the Boston trip out of the way in September, which is what I would prefer, that is best case scenario for that back-to-back road game, although you never want to play back-to-back roadies. But then you have Pitt at Cal, Georgia Tech, Clemson. That stretch, Billy, as you pointed out, no bye, like through 8 games. I would we have had a late bye week a couple times now recently, and you'd like to get that a few games earlier, like where Clemson got theirs. That would be something that I observed as well.
So, first of all, you did say get the Boston College trip out of the way. I actually am very much looking forward to catching little Fenway Frank, catch the game, get down there. I'm so glad we're not headed to Boston in November. But here's what I want to do. Let's go through this schedule, and I want everybody just to give a quick recap of this game being on the schedule at this date. And I'll start with VMI. So, first game of the season, it's been much maligned. I think most media outlets have been taking a little bit of a shot at this VMI game. I'm not kidding. I received 3 phone calls from people who have not been to Blacksburg since the year after I graduated, so 2019. Every single one of them in different friend groups said, hey, I just got an Airbnb for the season opener. Are you going? I'm telling you, I don't think it matters who we're playing.
No.
Because, number one, nobody on a national stage was going to tune in, whether it was VMI or JMU. We're talking about, pennies on the dollar difference, I think, in viewership. I think the fact that you get to load up the truck or the car or the Prius or the bicycle, and you get to go to Lane Stadium and you get to watch your team beat the snot out of somebody, which we have not done against inferior opponents in actually a decade plus, is huge. I think it's going to be awesome. The game will probably be at noon, and it's going to be packed out, and I think it's going to be a great infomercial for Virginia Tech. Going in, it's a little bit of a sleepy start to the season, but that doesn't matter when you have this much hype going into it. What are your thoughts, fellas?
Pat needs
I think my Pat needs to talk about something.
Pat hasn't said anything in a while.
I have a take about the schedule, too, that I wanted to slip in here. And we'll start with VMI. This schedule is like a perfect balance of nostalgic versus, newness. And I think VMI is a perfect caricature of that, knowing that we have this historic long-term rivalry that the old guard can appreciate, between VMI and VPI. But you got some folks on the schedule here from the Coastal. I think that pulls a lot of nostalgic together. You get Maryland, a previous ACC foe. You get your classic Boston College game that used to be our cross-divisional rival as well. And then just having those Coastal games, Pittsburgh, UVA, Miami, Georgia Tech. Last year, it just felt like it was a weird schedule to begin with, and even thinking back on the schedule last year, I think we only had 3 games against Coastal foes. We played Florida State, we played Louisville, we went to Carter Finley. It was just different. That being said, the VMI game, we had this argument, I'll call it that, about the VMI game and how one of the Sons of Saturday content creators, who will go unnamed, was vehemently against spending a weekend in Blacksburg versus a game versus an opponent like VMI, because it's VMI and it's not big league, and there's a there's a nice lake property a couple hours away that, is a better place to spend a Saturday or Labor Day. And I say, listen, man, it's week 1. Back in the 2000s, back in the early 2000s, it could be App State, back when App State was App State, that App State. It could be JMU, it could be Delaware, it could be Northeastern or
Akron,
directional
Arkansas
Michigan.
State in the Hispanic Heritage game. Many forget. Virginia
Well,
Tech played
no,
that.
Sam, what was that, 2002?
Microphone, but yeah, the Hispanic coaches Heritage game
Oh, you're
between
talking
two
about the exhibition game in 02?
between two white coaches. Yeah, that was awesome. For the culture.
Like, that game used to be
many
like...
forget. That game would never happen now.
It was like a...
Sorry, go on.
I don't know, Temple or Western Michigan or UConn. Hell, we'd play UConn in 2001. I'd be like, let's go. Week 1, like, we got UConn at home. Like, we're opening up with UConn. We get to see our players play football. We get to see Kevin Jones play football. That's what this game's going to be like. That's what week 1 with James Franklin is going to be like. Look at all this new talent. You get to actually see them, unlike the glorified spring game scrimmage. And that's how I'm thinking about week 1 right now. I don't know if I'm going to make it or not, but I know that it's going to be an event no matter who we are squaring up against.
I love the coastal flair that you pointed out because I remember looking at the schedule last year and it was like the ACC portion of the schedule feels weird, and the reason because the ACC portion of the schedule feels weird is because we didn't play at Pittsburgh, we didn't play some of the schools that we're used to playing. I'll also say this, and I'll say this every year until they're on the schedule. It drastically pisses me off that we're still not playing North Carolina. Like, it just makes me so angry that North Carolina is not on this schedule. And it makes me doubly angry that North Carolina is not on the schedule because there would be so many memes that would come out of playing them in this time of their history. So it's a bummer that we're not doing the Jordan Hudson preview pod. That's a bummer. But, I mean, you can't have everything. Any thoughts, Pete, before we move on to Old Dominion?
I like the VMI game being what it is because, like you said, viewership won't really be affected whether it's them or JMU, beside the fact that the money we would get is so nominal, it doesn't matter. But the idea that Pat put out there of, let's see some of our guys like do something before we get our brains kicked in. Like, instead of playing South Carolina and Vanderbilt to start the year and not knowing who we are or what we can do, let's move the Wofford game to week 1, which is essentially what we're doing this year.
Yeah.
And allow ourselves to actually go 1-0 and get excited about who we're seeing. Like, that is a nice plus. And hopefully you can carry that over into week 2 against ODU, who has clearly had our number over the last, 7 years or whatever it is back to 2018. Hopefully you can build some momentum and, take that into ODU and give them the licking they deserve after last year.
And I would say
I think
oh, sorry, Billy Ray, but my final on the VMI, like, one, it would be good to start with a win. That'd be awesome if we could do that. If you look at the calendar and you also look at how the schedule lays out, Virginia Tech gets basically 2 extra weeks of practice compared to last year. So last year you're playing, that game was early September or something, right? And you're playing South Carolina, and then you're rolling into Vanderbilt, right? There's not a lot of ramp-up time there. This one, you have that extra week of practice because Labor Day is later this year. And then you have VMI, who is, I'll say it, maybe one of, if not the worst FCS programs, worse than Wofford. Wofford kicked the living tar out of them last year.
Didn't their special teams coach literally join our staff yesterday?
We have a couple VMI
We have
guys,
multiple coaches from them that joined our staff.
They're leaving now.
recently.
They're leaving it's kind of wild.
Yeah, it's weird. So it's those extra weeks of practices with a young team, I think that makes a huge, huge difference for this season.
It's almost wrong to say this, and I'm saying this judging this year on this year. 9-12 Old Dominion in Blacksburg. I'm just saying if there's a wedding that has to fall during football season, it's got to be this weekend, right?
Of course.
Or there's
This
some
is the
people
late
ready to
weekend.
march into Lane Stadium and just boo ODU for 4 quarters.
I don't know. When we lost to ODU in 2018, I was at a wedding. So, like,
Yeah.
I never want to be at a wedding again when we play them. So
Yeah.
that was, that's where I stand on that one. But I know what you mean. If you have to pick a
Yeah.
weekend, you'd like to see week 1, see what we look like. Then, like, we're playing all power teams after that. So get it in.
Yeah.
This is the Brent Pry pitches a shutout football game. This is the Brent Pry redemption arc football game. I mean, you want to talk about just going out there and making a hell of an impression in this new chapter. You shut out Old Dominion at home.
Dude, let him do the post-game press conference if we shut him out. Redo the presser?
Did you guys watch the game last
Iterate
year?
that.
Shutout? Are you really talking about shutout right now? Give me a break. They scored like 48 points on us.
Honestly, I was waiting for Pete to get going on that one. No, look, you're 100% right. I'm saying I hope we are favored, Pat. Correct. I do hope we're favored going into this game.
At least they lost Kojo. You know, like they don't have their quarterback anymore, which is nice.
Going to 9-19, Maryland at College Park. I got to be honest. This gives. It's not necessarily it's not even close, actually, to what the Vanderbilt game was, but I feel like the amount of people that will be there that are Virginia Tech fans will be very similar, and here's why. The proximity is so good, and the hype will be so high. Again, there are going to be people listening to this podcast and be like, are Virginia Tech fans really talking this way? The answer is yes. And you can spin this back a year from now and make fun of us. I'm so confident in the direction our program is going in and how different our program is now than it was before. There's a real chance that it's a ranked Virginia Tech team going into Maryland. Like 24, 25, depending on where they put you at the beginning of the year. Depending on how you look those first 2 weeks, it's going to be one of those shots. Like, you remember Dalton Keene running into the end zone at Duke and the entire stands are Virginia Tech fans? I'm expecting that at College Park.
Yeah, that's a good point. I think you're probably right on that one. The idea of being ranked is interesting because we are making some of those way too early polls. And normally I'd be, Billy, we're not going to be ranked, but we might be because the James Franklin effect is real, and perception leads you into the AP poll sometimes.
Yeah.
And so we could be. That Maryland game is going to be fun because of what you said, though, about the fans. Yeah. We're going to show up. When we went there in 2009, it was a Virginia Tech party. I don't know if any of you guys were there. Pat might have been. I don't know. But that was a blast. It's so fun when we beat Maryland, but it is painful to lose. If we're going to feel confident, though, they were on our footing this year, and they don't have James Franklin coming in. And so I feel good about that game, but it could be very fun regardless of the outcome because it's going to be kind of like a coming out party, like first big opponent on the road, but in the DMV. So I'm looking forward to the Maryland game.
What do you got, Pat?
Listen up about this Maryland game, okay? All of the time, effort, resources that we can pour into a party or a gathering, there is going to be a dump truck full of all that we're going to be backing up into College Park, all right? We're going to be tailgating. We're going to find an event space. We're going to do it all. If you're listening, you're in the DMV. If you want to go to the Maryland football game, that is the event that we have circled on this calendar just from an access and availability standpoint that we know we can do a lot of fun gathering type and community building events at if you're a Hokie fan, if you like listening to Sons of Saturday and Too Deep. So that's where we win together. College Park.
The party.
Epic.
Sons of Fellowship. I think it's – so when was the last time that Virginia Tech won a non-conference power conference game?
Oh, boy, Sam.
2017.
2017.
What state was that in?
It was in
Landover, Maryland, dude.
Wow. Wow.
Bring it full circle.
The stars aligning. And this is also one of those – what is that? What?
I was going to say, does that mean that the last true road game win was Purdue in 2015? When was the last true road game out of conference win?
We had to have
road
one in
game
2016. We had
no, 2016 was Liberty,
Bristol,
Tennessee.
Liberty.
Oh,
Pitt.
shoot. Who? Pitt, ECU.
We beat
But
Pitt
no, those
that
are
year.
no. That's an ACC team.
Power
though.
5.
Oh, you're saying
East
yeah.
Carolina.
Out of
Yeah,
conference,
no,
I believe was that Purdue team.
I think it's the
mean,
Purdue game.
This is what's interesting about the
That's
Maryland
so
one.
gross.
It's disgusting.
That's 3 coaches ago.
Stop.
We got to move Pat. We got to get it this year. And Franklin
know.
has a bad taste in his mouth about Maryland. I know he
Yeah.
used to work there. I'm talking about when he was at Penn State. There was a little bit of a thing between those two schools. They're like, I wouldn't go so far as a rivalry, but they did not like each other. And so I want to see how, if there's any kind of chippiness or how much James Franklin is fired up going back to one of his original haunts.
He's going to be
It's
fired up.
also I think we'll talk about this like with the BC game as well. But like that's your litmus test, like 2 weeks. Like if you can't handle
Yeah.
Maryland and Boston College, like Virginia Tech's no better than they were last year. So there you go.
Well, we were
Like, you
pretty
gotta
bad
figure it
last
out.
year.
If you don't,
I
yeah,
mean, dude,
Sam,
we'll keep going though. But like those are 2 pretty bad teams for Power Conference.
what is Bill O'Brien
So-
bringing in this season? I mean, he's up against it. They were terrible last year. He looked like a dead man walking at some of those pressers.
Yeah. It's interesting. These 3 games, back to back to back, Maryland, Boston College, Pittsburgh to a lesser degree, but you could see these 3 programs moving off of their coach next year. Pittsburgh actually had a pretty decent year last year, so I won't say that about Pitt, but 3 coaches who are in a little bit of a weird place and a little bit of a mystery. Here's what I'll say about this Boston College game. I am being serious. I get that a lot of people don't care to go to Boston this early and care to like Boston this much. All I'll say is if you were in the Northeast, this Boston College game being in September when the weather won't suck is nice. The access to be able to go to Maryland and go to Boston College. If you're a New York Hokie, New Jersey Hokie, Delaware Hokie, Pennsylvania Hokie, Maine Hokie. If you're a Maine Hokie, let us know. I don't know any Maine Hokies. But if you are, you got a nice little slate here. Maryland and Boston College back to back. Could probably drive to both unless you're in Maine. I don't know why I threw Maine in there, but I mean that's a nice little dip, right?
I'll probably be there. Honestly, like I went to one of the last warm
Let's
weather
go, Pete.
when we
I'll be
played
there.
Boston College in that opener several years back. I went, but I said it's nice to get it out of the way in September. I meant because it's warm and you don't want to have to go up there when it's freezing cold and no one's in the stands. Like it is better to play this game in September. I've got family up there, and it could be beautiful. Late September in Boston, good weather.
I mean, last trip to
Wow.
Boston, wasn't it Knox? It was the Knox Kadum show. Is that right? Our last trip to Boston? Knox
No,
Kadum?
No,
you're
we
talking
beat
about the
crap.
Burmeister. Like, yeah,
No,
Is that-
we beat the last trip to Boston. We beat the crap out of them.
Oh, that's right. That was Tommy C.
That
I
was-
forgot.
yeah,
That
yeah,
game was
yeah.
weird. We
Yeah.
were at Goldie's for that game. Pat, that was the first time we ever met. 2019. We went to Ye Old Oyster House, and I got a steak there and a steak to go, which was just a diabolical move by me.
Yeah, that's about right. You said
Pat.
it, so I don't have to.
Pat, the Fighting Narduzzi's on 10-2. What do you got?
Man, wish it was a Saturday.
Oh,
Love
really?
this game. Love when Pitt comes to town. I just
Wait, you're
I just
anti
like-
Friday night?
I just it's
And
just
who
hard.
likes the Friday night? I
no
don't-
one,
I
no
don't-
one's like rooting for this, right?
Yeah.
No one's
All
really
right. I like the
fired
Friday
up
night.
for Friday.
I kind of like the Friday night.
I
think
love
you
Friday
have-
night. You get to watch all the games the next day? Personally.
You have great access on TV. You get that extra day of rest for the next week. It's easier on the travel for people. I kind of like the Friday night.
Is Friday?
Is it easier on the
easier
travel?
on the travel?
I
Sam,
don't
you
know
gotta
if-
miss a whole day of work if you're going to that game.
Versus a Thursday.
I mean,
Oh, you're looking at it
yeah,
like
right.
that, yeah.
Okay.
I think
Yeah.
that's fair.
Okay.
I think that's fair.
Yeah.
I just think Thursday is more authentic to Virginia Tech, and Friday is like this new ACC thing among all other
Roger
ACC
Goodell,
things.
no, this is Roger Goodell's fault. Roger Goodell killed Thursday Night Football. We can't blame the ACC for this. If they want to do their color rush uniforms and make us watch the Browns play the
No one's
Dolphins
making you
on
watch
Thursday
that.
night. Well, the ratings are insisting that we move up our game, and we have to.
And
It
Fox
sucks.
has gotten on
Ratings-
board too.
ratings
they're
are not
playing-
rankings.
They're doing Big Ten games on Friday nights as well. So you usually
Yeah.
get like a Nebraska and Rutgers on a Friday night or something. Also,
Yep.
But
Hell yeah.
I only reason I don't like Friday, I like night games. We had a great time at Cal last year. And you're right, Bill. You're freed up for the next day, especially if you win. It's a great feeling. But it is like a little bit of a minor league thing. You know, it's like, SEC ain't playing on Friday nights. Like they're not doing that. That's for high school kids, and the ACC is. And so that's the only. But to what Pat was saying about Pitt coming to town, what are your just thoughts on them as an opponent? I know you like that.
Real quick before you do that, just before we lose this point, that's a really interesting point out. We play no interesting games in Blacksburg, really, this entire year, and we get one less home game than we do an away game.
Asperg with this schedule.
And here's what's crazy. You can't host recruits on that Friday because they're all playing high school football. So think about it in that regard. You got a bad home slate, and one of your games is going to be on a Friday when everybody's playing high school football. Didn't think about it that way.
And recruits can't even watch the game either.
Yeah, I know.
But think about it this way: all the recruits are watching the game because it's that next portal class, checkers.
Oh,
It's that next portal class.
Well done.
How bad, Pat?
Yes.
I like that.
They get to see Lane Stadium and all the ACC Network glory. It's going to be a beautiful day. Although ACC Network has done a better job.
Game.
They've done a better job of
end game.
The ACC Network has definitely stepped up their game. And I'll be honest too, the CW grew on me towards the end of the year. I'll be honest. The official cam.
You gotta listen to it on mute, but the visual isn't bad for CW.
Yeah, I'll give you that.
There's no CW on this schedule.
Dude, at BC in September has CW written all over it.
Stanford.
Yeah. Speaking of CW, I just got absolutely crushed by a woke wedding on this week of the schedule. I am having to go to a wedding. I had this game circled. Cal, just crushed. Cal wedding, CW. I had this game circled. I was so excited about it. I tried to make an alliteration out of that with woke and everything. It just didn't work out. I'm devastated. This is one of the games that I wanted to go to. I wanted to go to Napa Valley as a recipient of the Woke Walker Award last year. It was going to be like a big victory lap for me. I'm really upset. I will get over it. But I am upset to miss this one, and I think this is this. It cracks the top 3 of games that I'd want to go to, home or away, on this schedule.
Really?
Maybe that's just a me thing.
I thought this was number 1 for you. I mean, devastated doesn't even tell the story, and I have secondhand devastation over here.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know which of us are going to have to accept that Woke Walker Award on your behalf and attend.
I have accepted it. I'm not giving it up. It's still I earned the award.
it's.
I'm not
donating the award to Pat, as we've seen other people do.
What I'm hearing is that you are missing the banquet that's happening on October 9th
on your behalf
in Berkeley.
Yes. Well, they're not giving the Emmy to Billie Eilish because she can't make it. She's still going to get her Emmy or Grammy or whatever.
Someone's got to stand in there for her. Patty Eyelash.
I'll tell you what, though. Hope everybody has a blast. I got crushed by the 2 weddings that I have are Cal and Clemson. Literally and figuratively pour one out. It's tough.
So the Cal game is that desirable for you? Just because is it more because you want to go make a visit to the Napa Valley and stuff?
No, Pete. Exactly. I will be drinking bottles of Cabernet. I'll have an awesome time. The views from Cal Stadium, there's some people, Google it. It looks unbelievable. It looks like it's in the middle of nowhere. I think just getting there and being like, we should have made T-shirts. I was there, Cal 2026. I'm probably hyping it up way more in my head, and I think what contributed to it is Juliana was bought in. She was like, you know what? That would be a fun trip. Yes, we'll go to Napa Valley. It'll be such a fun time. Look at that. You can't tell me that wouldn't be just an epic trip. Look at that excitement.
Where are you? Is this Cal? What are we looking at?
No, dude, that's...
What's going on?
What are we looking at?
Wait, Pat, you got to tell the lore of this picture, dude. This is an all-time pick. This is such an all-time pick. Oh my gosh! I'm
ACC,
so glad you pulled this
is that
up.
what I'm saying?
Yes, but
That's
this was
exactly
the
what you're
day
saying.
we were in Lake Tahoe, and this is the day the news broke that we added Stanford and Cal. So we literally were. This is an overshare, but we were in Lake Tahoe and we went to visit like this building that was mentioned in a Netflix documentary, and this news broke. And poor Juliana, we're like, you need to film us right now. And we're like, what do we do? And we just made the ACC logo with our hands. So this is in Lake Tahoe when that news broke. I'm devastated. I wanted to be there. I'm not going to be there. But any thoughts on the actual football game?
Well, they got a stud quarterback.
And they did
They
pretty
did.
well in the portal, too.
Sons of retention.
And the new coach, Tosh Lapoy, defensive coordinator from Oregon, comes over to Cal, could inject some life into them. Although Cal wasn't a terrible team last year, as we learned by them taking us to overtime. But one of the things the listeners might not know is that Billy is a big wine guy. And so that is probably
who
why you
isn't?
want to get out there. And I'm sure Juliana also loves her wine as well. I've been out to the Napa Valley, not for a Tech game, but I've been to a Stanford game back in the day. Their stadium is whatever. Cal's is probably a little bit cooler. I would like to go. I was looking forward to you guys like organizing a wine bus for us all, and then me just getting on. But if that's not going to happen, it could be a little bit tougher.
I will say too, it's one of those games where it's going to look really weird on TV.
Oh, yeah.
Like, it's going to look super duper strange. I think too, like, that Cal team, although they were better than we thought, they probably still weren't as good as their record. And I don't know how much better they're going to be this year. They did lose quite a bit in terms of that was a pretty senior-laden team, but they did well in the transfer portal. They bring back JKS. The new coach from Oregon, like, we've seen this before with defensive coaches who have elite talent. Then they go to a place that doesn't have that elite talent, and they're like, oh my gosh, my defense doesn't work. Prime example, Jeff Hafley going from Ohio State and having a great defense, going to Boston College having a terrible defense, and has subsequently failed himself upwards to be an NFL head coach. But
Damn.
like they're a team, he has, right? They're a team with a lot of question marks. So like that could be a game that we're saying, hey, we need to win this game. This is a game we should win. Or it could be a game of, that's a tough one. Cross-country road trip, you take a loss. Like, it runs the spectrum, honestly.
Yeah, it's hard to know what's going to await us there. And it's sandwiched by Pitt and Georgia Tech both being at home. And those two teams, Pitt and Georgia Tech, are similar in the fact that both of them have had pretty bad portal windows. They are both ranked really low in On3's net portal ranking. A lot of talent going out, not that much coming in. And for GT, who's up next after Cal, their coaching staff got raided.
Yes, they did. So this is how I'm looking at this schedule. If I were to give the schedule makers like a slogan for what they did with Virginia Tech, it's kind of like, hey, James Franklin, we're going to give you a real chance to have some serious momentum to get into middle October and give yourself a chance to play meaningful football in November. Because everything we just talked about, we barely talked about the other team. VMI, Old Dominion, Maryland, Boston College, Pittsburgh, Cal. Pretty forgettable slate right there. This is where it picks up. This is, I think, probably the most underrated game on the entire schedule. It's actually definitely by far the most attractive home game on the entire schedule. 10-17, Georgia Tech in Blacksburg. Again, Virginia Tech running back coach came from Georgia Tech. Georgia Tech got pillaged in the coaching ranks, had a poor portal class, and also loses Haynes King. What are the thoughts on this Georgia Tech game? I mean, this is kind of like a linchpin in the season, determining on, like, are we going to have a good season, or are we going to be set up for really getting fired up every Saturday we wake up to play in November?
I mean, this is Georgia Tech at home is one that you'd probably feel like this year you have to have if you want to reach the heights that Billy Ray is certainly talking about. Like, it's a team that's going to take a big step backwards. They're in rebuilding phase. You stole their running backs coach, and their running back position was probably their best on the team. You'd like to have this one at home, albeit, coming back from Cal, knowing you have the road trip to Clemson ahead of you.
7 games in a row, Sam. No break.
It's going to be a test of the depth of this team and like how good is James Franklin at getting these guys mentally locked in.
It should be a win.
This is a football game that serious Virginia Tech football programs have won in the past. I really like the way that this is being framed, Billy. And I mean, this is homecoming. October 17th, like this is the homecoming football game, without a doubt. It's going to be – I'm really bummed I have a wedding this Saturday. That is tough. I got to tell you guys, we're 7 games in. Could we be favored in all 7 of these games?
No. Stop it.
I mean, it's possible because of what we were saying earlier. Like, this roster will be evaluated more on the coach's reputation than on the talent on the team. Like, that's how I feel. And that goes into, lines are based on perception, AP poll is based on perception, and Virginia Tech has ratcheted up the respectability of their program simply by hiring James Franklin and him bringing in a staff. And so it's possible. I think the Cal game on the road, I don't know if that will be favored, but like it could be because of all the questions they have. So does Brent Key's going to have to earn his money this year because this is a tough ask for him. He lost both quarterbacks in the portal. He lost his starter, but he also lost the top backup. And so I don't know how they rebuild because it seems like they had a good season last year and they took it to us when we were in a tough spot. Yeah. So is there a little bit of, it's our turn to beat up on them a little bit when they're down? How are we playing through those first 7 weeks? I'm a little worried about the depth as you hit on, Bill. That worries me at this stage in the season without a bye.
Yeah, I think that's your linchpin. And again, keep in mind, we're recording this on January 26th, so obviously orange and maroon glasses are on here. This is why it's so upsetting to miss this Clemson game, which I will because I have my other wedding
You
this
guys
weekend.
are at the worst age right now. In terms of wedding invites, like all 3 of you guys, I did this. I had 8 weddings in 8 months. It's brutal.
We're doing summer weddings in my friend group. I don't know what y'all's problem is.
Yeah. This is, it's Death Valley. It's Death Valley Junior for sure. This is us down at Death Valley Junior. Look.
DVJ.
Here's why it's so exciting is because not only is this the Clemson game on the road, you're playing Clemson, and let's be honest, for the last 10 to 15 years when we played Clemson, you're accepting that the game is probably going to be over at halftime. The game is probably going to be over in the third quarter. This is a Virginia Tech team who is on the rise, and Clemson is very much not on the rise. And it has a chance to be one of those trips that you make and you say, you know what? You've been sticking it to us for the last 10, for the last 15 years. You guys are the old story. We are the new story in the conference. That's very much what this feels like it could possibly be. That's why I'm so bummed to miss this game. And obviously it's a great place to watch a game too. So that's kind of my thoughts on it.
Yeah, I think if you're going to win at Clemson, this is probably the year to do it. It's probably the last chance for a while.
It's the first time in so long that it's not a foregone conclusion we're going to lose. That is what Billy was saying, and that is true. And it may be a foregone conclusion when we get to week 8. Maybe they're playing real well and we're not. Dabo used the portal a little bit more this year. Than he has. He has 10 guys coming in, 9 of which are on defense. So he's really addressing the defense. I think their offense could be pretty bad. They had to make a change. Right? They got rid of Riley, right, Sam? And then Klubnik's gone, and Chad Morris comes back, which feels like a desperation move. So I don't think the Clemson offense is going to be much better than it was this year, and it's pretty bad. Do those portal moves actually make their defense better? Because they're losing a lot of guys on defense too.
Yeah. Tech has not won in Death Valley since 2007. If you're a Tech fan and you're like, I got to go to one game this year on the road, like, what's the big game? I feel like you're really torn between some really fun road destinations, and then you're like, well, but I want to go to the Clemson game. But like, what if you want to go to SMU for the first time? What if you want to take the big trip to Miami? And then you're like, don't you wish that this game was next season or somewhere else, as far as just like, I've never been to a game at Clemson. I want to knock that off my list.
Mm-hmm.
That's how I feel about this game as a fan, too, because Clemson game, this has never been the season that we go to Clemson. It's the season that we go to D.C. and Miami and Boston and Dallas and San Francisco, and then Clemson is the college football town vibe that kind of weirdly takes a backseat to this big city, big access feel.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It is odd also the few amounts of times that we've played Clemson on the road. It's very peculiar how very few times, because you said the last time we won at Clemson was 2007. How many times have we played there since? Twice?
It was 07,
2012.
12, and then 2017 they came to Blacksburg.
They beat us twice.
And we played them in the
2011.
ACC championship.
Yeah.
So we've only played them 2 other times, which is, in my opinion, criminal that we've only played it that many times at Clemson or played them that many times in general. I mean, it was a good time to miss them, but, it is what it is.
I'll ask you guys before we move on. Tech playing 8 games in a row, which is crazy. Unfortunately,
Insane.
last year there was 2 bye weeks in this calendar. This year, the calendar only works out so there's 1 bye week. Would you rather play like the Stanford game at home this week and then do like potentially 3 bye and then 3 away games, or would you rather do like, hey, have the bye week this week and then do at Clemson at SMU back to back? Like,
I'll tell you what I would have rather done is I would have rather play on week 0. Like, if we had a chance to play on week 0, I think you should always want to play on week 0 to get those double buys. To answer your question, Sam, yes, I do wish that Stanford was this game this week so that I could go to the Clemson game at another week. But the 8 games in a row, man, like, to me, yes, the back half of the schedule is difficult. That is the more difficult thing, is playing 8 games in a row when, people may not think this is a big deal, and maybe it won't turn out to be a big deal, but think about how long it took the players to adjust just on, like, what is our routine schedule away from home. Like, their entire process and their entire, like, game day routine is going to be completely different. And you're going to test it out 8 weeks in a row before you get yourself a breath of fresh air. So that 8 weeks is a serious bummer.
And you are starting it with 2 road games against power teams. You're going to Maryland, you're going to BC, and then it's home away the rest of the year.
Moving right along to that SMU game in Dallas, Texas. So 11-6 or 7. SMU's such a weird team because you're like, man, it's almost like you underrate how good they are and also underrate the fact that they are in Dallas. What are your? I don't really know what to think of this other than this will be a good test. It's probably the best team that we will have played up until this point on our schedule. Like, just the problem that a lot of people are going to have is they're going to see the Clemson logo and they're going to think of Clemson over the last 10 years. And again, I know Dabo will probably put this. He's going to find all of the clips of people talking about Clemson like this. But the results are the results, and Clemson has not looked like Clemson for almost 3 or 4 years now. So to me, this SMU game is the most challenging game on the schedule up until this point.
I think they're the second best team in the ACC. If you're just going by who they have back, who their coach is, how they're doing in the portal, program trajectory, this is a really good team. And I don't think Louisville is necessarily better. They had a shaky year this past year. Now, Louisville had a great portal season this year. They always have a good portal season. But SMU, to me, right now, if I had to pick, would be the number 2 team in the ACC behind Miami. And Clemson would be behind them, and FSU, and everybody else. So this is really tough. It's on the road. I don't know that it's a super scary home environment, but it's the first time that we're playing there. And I guess the best thing is it's coming off of a bye. So that is nice for Virginia Tech to have the bye week before we're going to this, lesser-known location against a very good team.
Couple thoughts on the SMU game. First of all, revenge match cooking for the half-court prayer. Grunkmeyer, Hail Mary, let's do it, okay? Second of all, I don't know much about SMU. I just know they got a lot of money. And they are not featured in Landman. That is TCU that is featured in Landman, extensively. I don't know if any of you guys are hip to the show, but Landman is, they're big TCU people, they're big Texas Tech people. I wonder how SMU feels about not being featured in the show, because I know that they got that big crosstown rivalry between Fort Worth and Dallas. It's like this again, SMU. You compare this game, you're like, I'd love to go to the SMU game. And then you're like, well, I'd rather go to a game at Clemson than a game at SMU.
Yeah,
it's just a novelty thing.
I know. It's weird. Their stadium holds 32,000 people. It's going to be, I know Ed Williams is literally texting us as we're having this conversation right now. Dude, Dallas barbecue, are you kidding me? Zach Bryan's playing there the night before.
Is he? Because this is a
no.
This is
I
a
don't
Friday,
know. I have no.
This is a Friday or Saturday, so you don't even know when the game is.
So the football aspect of this is, I think Virginia Tech wants this game to be on a Friday night, because if it is on a Friday night, there is potential that SMU could be coming off of a short week at Syracuse the week before. That game is also Friday or Saturday, so they could maybe have that be back-to-back Friday games for SMU. But scheduling-wise, Virginia Tech coming off a bye, SMU coming off a road trip to Syracuse in the cold, I don't know, man. That sets up pretty nice for Virginia Tech.
This is a huge game. This is, if you look at it, and Pete, you'll have a better sense for this. James Franklin is known for never winning the big ones. You have, on paper, 1, 2, 3, 4, 4.5 big ones on the back half of your schedule. Beating SMU would be a huge deal for James Franklin in year one of Virginia Tech.
It's not Ohio State, but it would be a big win
I'm
for
saying
us
relative
this
to the
year.
situation.
Yes.
Yeah. It'd be at SMU this year would be probably the best Tech win since.
Do we really have to play this game?
I mean, it would have been a while.
It's been a while. It's been a long freaking time.
Yeah.
I would. The SMU game it's a fun game because of the novelty of it, as you guys said. I also wonder, because it's in Dallas, does SMU draw television wise? That's a big market. If it's a Friday night game, you might get a little bit of extra viewers, but probably not.
I think it depends on how good Tech is. If there's a number next to Tech's name and there's a number next to SMU's game, college football fans are going to tune into this game.
Yeah, that's true. And there could be.
Yeah, so that's kind of how I'm looking at it. Now, if you're looking for viewership, this next week isn't the one to find it. Stanford coming to Virginia Tech. I really don't know what to expect out of Stanford. I have a hard time talking about this. We can move past this one unless you guys have some passionate thoughts. This home schedule is really a travesty.
Can't lose.
Yeah, you can't lose this one. It's a year one of a coach. Again, Tavita Pritchard, I believe, the Commanders quarterback coach, hired by his alma mater to be the head coach at Stanford. They were a little feisty last year in spots. The defense was good and opportunistic, but they should not be a very good team. Not a team that's going to hit portal hard or anything like that. They're going to build from within. I think the leadership with Andrew Luck should be solid, but it's year one of a coach. It wasn't a good football team last year. They're coming to Blacksburg across the country. Hopefully it's at noon, or it probably won't be, but hopefully it's at noon because that's worse for Stanford, and we can get the win.
I feel like this is the first time we've played. Go ahead.
I was going to say, with respect to the institution of higher learning that is Stanford University, I really I can't get up for this. I just am 0% excited about them being in our conference, being on our schedule. I'm ready to wash my hands with Stanford. Figure it out, guys. Figure it out.
Yeah,
Andrew Luck was on your team 15 years ago. you don't have that Orange Bowl over our heads anymore. This is a whole new era of football.
I got to tell you, Pat,
something
do you
about
sit next
this
to a
too.
Stanford guy who's chirping you or something?
They don't exist. What are you talking about?
I agree. My thing is, the only positive spin I could put on this, and I don't want to get dizzy making this spin here, is I feel like in November we haven't had a lot of like hang your hat on it win games. Now, part of that is due to the fact that we just haven't won a whole lot of football games and haven't been that much better than a lot of other teams. But I feel like during this week we're playing usually like Louisville on the road or NC State at home. Like, for some reason, this date on the calendar reminds me of, team way better than us plays us here. That's been my memory of this week on the calendar.
To me, the Stanford game is like that game that you're trying to like connect with some buddies at a game, and you're like looking at the schedule, and like these are like definitely outer circle buddies, but it would be great to see them at a Tech game, and like they hit you up and they're like, yeah, like we're all getting a big Airbnb for the Stanford game, and you're just like, out of all the games, like you took the Stanford game, like really, like that's the game that you want to go to, like now I have to go to the Stanford game, like I'm obligated to go to the Stanford game just to hang out with you.
Damn,
we all have those friends.
Sam, what were you gonna say?
Stanford could start 0-6. They have Hawaii in week 0, and they lost to Hawaii last year. And Hawaii's going to be better this year. And then they play Miami, probably going to get waxed by Miami. Then they go at Duke, Georgia Tech, at Wake Forest, at Notre Dame, before finally having a home game against Elon, of all teams. A home game against Elon in mid-October. So, yeah, I mean, they could be 0-6. They'll probably be, gosh, I mean, I'll give them a win against Elon, and then I'll give them one of Hawaii and NC State. But, oh my gosh. Like
they're playing the 3 best teams in the league.
Yeah.
They'll probably be out
play.
of bowl contention by the time they travel to Blacksburg.
They're making Elon travel to Stanford?
Man, I don't know. Billy Ray, stupid. What did I tell Pete in the group chat earlier today? We're so past stupid.
Yeah.
Well, you said, you were talking to me and Clark, because Clark texted us about the schedule, and we were kind of going back and forth, and I was like, dude, how are we going to have potentially 3 Friday night games? That is so stupid. You're like, dude, we are way past stupid. So far past stupid with this schedule. What I was going to say about Stanford
out the window
is that this is a James Franklin game. This is the reason you hire James Franklin game, because we don't want to have to worry about this type of bullshit game. Mm-hmm. If he can't come here, and we always talk, we can't beat ODU, we can't beat Wake. You got to beat Stanford.
Yeah.
This is why you hire James Franklin, so you don't have to worry about the Stanford game. Get your Airbnb, get drunk all weekend. Don't even go to the game. Just have a good time. Hopefully James Franklin can take care of it and win the frickin' Stanford game before 2 tough ending games to the schedule.
That is the clip we will air the week of that Stanford game. So, last 2 games of the season, 11-20 at Miami Gardens, Florida. This very well could be, man, what an image. What a time, and what a time to be dead, honestly. Man, this brings back some serious memories. Out of control of screen grab of you here, Pat. My question with Miami is this. Sam, I want your take. I think they're going to get Darian Mensah.
Probably.
If they don't, they're kind of in a really bad spot. Like,
they're kind of screwed if they don't get Darian Mensah. Now, what I will say is I don't see a world where Darian Mensah isn't their quarterback. Mm-hmm. Like, I don't think there's a legal recourse to it. I think the only way that he's not their quarterback is if whatever the judge comes back with that he or she believes Miami has to pay Duke is more than Miami wants to pay, which won't be the case. And he has to go back to Duke. But like, I think Darian Mensah is going to be their quarterback. I think they're probably going to be a less talented team than they were this year, pretty substantially. Especially along the line of scrimmage. They'll be very, very good, though. Like, Miami will be playing for a shot at the ACC title and for a playoff spot when Virginia Tech goes to Miami. Like, I can almost guarantee that.
Yeah, and Emory Williams, the backup quarterback behind Beck, transferred to, I believe, ECU. So he wasn't going to be their guy. And so they need Mensa. Absolutely, they need Mensa to go there. And if it's a matter of money, Miami will pay the money. You know, whatever legal things play out, if it can be done legally, if they can get it through no matter what, and it's just a matter of payment, they'll pay it. And Manny will get screwed, and Miami will have their quarterback. But, like, that's, you know, well, I don't know why Mensa's signing a 2-year deal, to be perfectly honest. But it protects him, I suppose, if he got hurt. But, like, this is what happens. You're going to get sued. Duke's going to get sued, and we'll see how it plays out. Miami's going to be really good, and we got to go down there. Doesn't mean we can't beat them. I mean, if we could almost beat them in that awful 2024 season, then we will have a chance to beat them next year.
Let me ask you guys a question. If you had to pick, and Pat, you kick this off. We'll go Pat, Sam, Pete. You have to pick between Clemson, SMU, and Miami. You get to go to one. Where are you going?
Like I get to
I think that's the question everybody has to answer. I mean, it's Clemson, SMU, and it's Miami. You pick one. Which one are you going to?
Probably the Clemson game, just because of the accessibility to Miami and the novelty. I mean, like, how much longer is Dabo Swinney going to be at Clemson, too? Like,
yeah.
How much longer is Clemson going to be Clemson before they're not Clemson?
Well, they're not Clemson now. It's just going to continue to get worse.
Yeah. So I would probably choose Clemson, or just like to have the opportunity to win there. I think is special. I think it would have to be Clemson first, followed by SMU, just because of. I mean, I have a wedding over the SMU game, so I'm looking at the Miami game, and I'm like, I think that's the game. I think that's like the big away game, external of Cal and external of Maryland. I don't know. We might be doing a lot of road travel in this fall. What about you guys?
Miami. If I have to go, if I have to choose between Clemson, South Carolina, Dallas, Texas, and Miami in November, I'm going to Miami. I don't. Duh. It's cold as shit outside of New York right now. Miami sounds awesome. Clemson, though, is if you have friends, acquaintances, coworkers, whoever, that are Clemson people and tailgate for Clemson, go. Because it's probably the best tailgate scene on the East Coast, for sure. So if you can go to a Clemson game with Clemson people, go. On the East Coast, yeah.
Okay.
SMU, like, they don't care really about football. Like, they're not. It's not going to be a hype environment. The stands are not going to be full. I would avoid that one.
I'm interested to hear you say that, because you've definitely watched way more SMU than me.
They have a huge attendance problem.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
Pete, where are you going?
To Clemson. It's not close. I don't want to go to a major city to watch college football.
Damn.
Like that it just doesn't feel like college football to me in Dallas or even in Miami, where it's a pro stadium and it's not close to campus, and the vibe is all. On a Friday night, they will have a lot of people there. Like, people will show up for like the prime time stuff.
People
for Miami.
We'll see.
Yeah. I don't know how much of the student body will be there, but people and corporate people will be there, and they have a lot of fans, especially after this year. They're bringing back the fan base. But
here's
it's Clemson, bar none. That's where I want to go. I've never seen a game there. It's a real college town. It's a historic place, even since the new millennium. That's where I'd like to go see a game.
Here's the thing. I'll leave this with this. The Miami game, and again, it's January. We're gonna be a little crazy. The Miami game has a chance to be some variation of clinchmas, or we're extending our hopes to make it to the ACC championship one more week. Like, that is the sell on Miami. You almost want to know where you're situated in the standings before committing to going to that game. If Virginia Tech is not playing for something when it gets to that game, you're probably not going to want to be there. If they are, it's a chance to be an awesome game. I mean, Darian Mensah versus Grunk and James Franklin's first year. Again, one of those games with two teams potentially having a number next to them. I mean, ESPN's going to freak out about this game if the stars align the right way. Because don't forget, guys, this game falls on the week that the SEC plays no games. The SEC is playing like directional Carolina this week and the Citadel. That's what this week is. So there's a chance that this is one of the more interesting games across college football.
Shots fired at North and South Carolina.
Oh yeah, I couldn't think of a better state, but I mean, let's get a little crazy. Who knows? This could be a game day game. I don't know.
Well, it's a Friday night. Things would have to go remarkably well.
Of course,
and it's a Friday night, so it can't.
And we're so due. Oh, you're right. It's Friday night, but we're due for some things to go right. We're due for that.
Well, I'll put it to you this way: the over/under for Tech is 7.5, and if you look at the first 3 games, I'm assuming Vegas thinks we're winning those. So that means they think we're winning at most like 4-ish ACC games, which means 5 ACC losses. It would be great if we were competing for the ACC title come the Miami game, but I think we're going to be out of the running. Nevertheless, it's Tech in Miami, and I think there's a draw there. And with Franklin and the intrigue, if we're competitive at all, say we're like 7 wins at that point, that would be something that could be very interesting.
The UVA game. We're playing it at home for what? The second time since COVID with fans, Pat? Is that right? Is this the second time we're playing this game at home with fans since COVID? Game was canceled in 2022. Yeah. Away. Yes. So this is the second time that we're playing against our rival at home with fans since COVID. Here's the thing. James Franklin is... When was the last time... Virginia Tech hasn't had that many football coaches, but when was the last time James Franklin or Virginia Tech welcomed a coach and UVA was actually respectable? Like, this should be a solid matchup. Pete, what do you think the over-under on UVA is going to be this upcoming year? The storylines in this game are going to be pretty miraculous.
You know, it's as far as I could see, it wasn't out yet, but because of the loss of Morris, they're bringing in Bo Perbula. I think that's a little bit of a downgrade. I'm not a huge Perbula guy. I think the roster as a whole will be okay, and they were in the middle of the pack in the portal rankings, so they did fine. You know, they've had some big money donors. I don't think they're going to be as good as they were this year, and we know that this year they weren't as good as their record. I think that is safe to say based on the fact that they blew it against Duke in the championship game. This is going to be very, very winnable at home the last week. UVA always struggles with depth at the end of the year. Like this year, they stayed super healthy. That's one of the reasons they were as good as they were. They had some injuries, no doubt about it. But like we had a ton of defections and a ton of injuries, and I know the game wasn't that close, but we had nothing left this season.
Yeah.
Next year at home, Franklin hasn't. The one thing I'm curious about Franklin, like he hasn't had an in-state rival every year game. Like they matched him up against like Michigan State and stuff, and Maryland at Penn State. Like having a true in-state rival, like outside of the 1 year they'd play Pitt here and there. Like this is interesting how he approaches the game, who he leans on going into it.
Yeah. I'm gonna say something a little hyperbolic. You look at the schedule. You look at the schedule. You look at the bottom row. If he's able to win the SMU, Miami, or even Virginia game, and you take into account sort of like understanding Penn State's in the Big Ten, understanding Penn State's a perennial top 10 program, like in terms of James Franklin was the head coach when this team won this game, if he's able to beat Miami, where does that rank on biggest wins in James Franklin's career? Seriously. How many more games has James Franklin won that would be bigger than Virginia Tech finding a way to win in Miami Gardens, Florida, in year one?
Yeah, there's a handful. The question is, we don't know exactly what Miami's going to be yet. We know
that's
they'll be
the problem
solid.
with all these games.
They need, we don't know the quarterback situation. If they have Darian Mensah and he beats them in their house,
so what?
It's
a
going
top
to
3
rank
win
very
at worst
high
for him. Like it's at worst a top 3 win for him. When
yeah.
you take relative spot to competition.
He won a Big Ten title. He has some other
the
pretty
Ohio
good size
State
wins.
game.
The playoff games, the Ohio State
2
where they
playoff
blocked
wins.
the kick.
Yeah.
I think what's also interesting about this Virginia game is, first, depending on how the season goes, if he somehow gets to that game and let's say you're on your way to winning, maybe beating your over-under, and beating Virginia gets you to 10 wins or gets you to 9 wins, you lose that game, you are going to piss off swaths of people. And also, if you just hit your over and you beat UVA, people will be feeling really good at the end of the year. It's one of those games where it's people will form massive opinions about you in your first year based upon the result of this game, is what I'm trying to say here.
Yep. And I think a note for the UVA game is Tech has an extra day of rest because of that Friday game at Miami. Going into that, UVA will play Carolina on the Saturday before. So at the end of the season, when you're a Virginia Tech team that's, quite frankly, not going to be very deep, the too deep drink is not going to be probably what we want it to be for Virginia Tech this year. And having that extra 24 hours of rest might be the difference between a guy being able to go and a guy being being held out. So
I will say though, it's going to be it'll be the deepest team we've had in multiples of years.
At some positions.
Yes. Yes. I think
would also,
most importantly up front.
It's going to be very difficult for this Virginia Tech team, I think, to find consistency when it comes to the defensive side of the ball because of how many young players are going to have to play right away. There are going to be inconsistent performances. And so when you look at the schedule, we feel really good about Pitt coming to Blacksburg on a Friday night. That can't be the game where your freshmen make freshman mistakes. Or your redshirt sophomore who you've heard hype about every offseason but hasn't seen the field much. You then realize why they haven't seen the field. You have to perform at a pretty high level in some of these other games in order to make the Miami game and the SMU game towards the end of the season mean something. And that's going to fall almost squarely on this coaching staff to get young players ready to go because I'm sure some of our Hokie friends will do this math eventually towards the end of the year. But I wouldn't be surprised if this was the most amount of freshmen and redshirt freshmen contributing to a team that Virginia Tech has had in a long, long time.
That wraps up the schedule. Any last thoughts on Virginia or the schedule as a whole?
Pat, it's your birthday weekend that weekend.
11/28.
Yeah. How are you feeling about a victory? Do you think that Tony Elliott turned the corner this year, or do you think it was just kind of a fluke for him this season?
This is the most important game on James Franklin's schedule. Without a doubt.
Really?
I mean, you got to beat UVA year one. You got to beat UVA
That's just putting it down.
Are you kidding me? You got to set the tone.
Billy almost ended the pod before this take.
I have.
What game on this schedule is more important than the Virginia game in year one?
Yeah.
I hate to be this guy. All of them are important in year one. It would be unfair to make this take, but obviously I would prefer, if I had to choose between the two, to beat Old Dominion and not lose to them again. And honestly, I think the Maryland game is huge. The fact that the game is going to be full of Virginia Tech fans, the stadium is going to be 70% Virginia Tech fans. You get the out-of-conference monster off of your back. I think that game's important too. To your point, though, Pat, a lot of people will draw their conclusions on whether the season was successful or the hire was successful, not by looking at the over-under. They'll look at it regardless of if we won or lost this game.
Al Jones is somewhere saying, "There it is. That's all I wanted to hear Billy Ray say in this podcast," and he said it. Al Jones, I got you. The Virginia game, you cannot lose this game. And the stakes are even higher just because they beat us last year. You do not want there to be any sort of new streak that is triggered on the other side of the fence.
Yeah.
You got to get in and handle business year one and set the standard right away. And never let any teams know what it's like to lose to Virginia. Tony Elliott beats us in Lane Stadium for the first time since 1998 in 2026, Tony Elliott can go ahead and just straight up probably I don't want to use the word dominate. He's not going to dominate Virginia recruiting, but he can dominate that conversation in Virginia living rooms.
It would be it would be pretty awful if that was the case.
This is a James Franklin make your money game too.
Yeah.
It's a home game against your rival. We got this big name coach. They're not a very good rival. This is not Ohio State or Michigan.
Yeah.
Like, win the game. Like, I kind of agree with Pat here. Like, you got to set the tone of what it's like. And based on history, I like our odds to not lose 2 in a row. I do.
Here's what we do, okay? First of all, we're going to beat VMI by like 70 points. And then we're going to shut out Old Dominion week 2. And then we're going to finish off the Virginia slate with Virginia at home.
That would be nice.
I thought you were going to run through. I thought you were going to run through every game.
I thought you were going to keep going. I will say
we had 4 Virginia schools on our schedule before we dropped JMU, and they were all at home.
That is wild.
Man, I want to point out before we end this thing, the away slate. Harp on it one more time. It sucks. It's a
tough
really,
slate.
really tough away slate. Considering we're going to Texas, to California, to Clemson, to Boston, and to Miami. Like, the farthest reaches of the country, as Sam was talking about at the very beginning of the show, and you got an extra away game as compared to some of the other teams. So that is a reason to me to just temper the win total expectations just a bit, because it is really rough. Like, that is some really bad travel. The only other East Coast team in the ACC that has to go to Texas and to California is Wake. No other school has to deal with that.
Wow.
Wake got done a little dirty too. So because they got Miami as well, but it's at home. But their away slate might be worse than ours. It's Cal, GT, Louisville, NC State, and SMU. So that it's pretty bad, and then they add in Miami. So we're down there with basically the worst schedule you could get for an ACC team in 2026.
Do you all, before we sign off here, and if you're watching, please put this in the comments. Do you have any locks, games you will absolutely be going to? If you can give me 1 or 2 each, we'll sign off with that. Pat, you go first.
Maryland and Cal.
Okay.
Lock them in. Throw away the key. Cross country, Pat.
Oh, God, I'm so upset I'm missing Cal. Sam?
I'll give you 3. VMI, Maryland, BC. All 3 of them, lock.
Wow.
Yeah,
Good
all
September,
3 of them,
Sam.
lock.
That's the first month,
dude. Yeah, I was about to say, dude. If we're good, you're gonna be in some trouble because you're gonna have to make some more
because
trips.
I with the way my calendar works out, like October is probably like that GT game's a no-go. I can't do any of the away games later in the season. I probably can't do Stanford. Like, with the way it works out, if I'm going to use some PTO days, it's going to be in September.
Yeah, here's the thing, though, Sam. You said you probably can't do the Stanford game. If we're ranked like 11th in the country, you're doing the Stanford game. So,
Dude, I'm going to
all
do
I'm
it
saying.
from my couch.
all I'm saying is you're going to put yourself in a precarious situation if you, for lack of better terms, blow your load in September. You're going to be like, I got to get to some of these other games.
Pat, the LaGuardia to Roanoke Express. Let's go, baby.
Dude, as long as it's American. That Delta was sus when I flew Delta down there a few weeks ago.
Pete, what do you got? Because I got to let Willie Kranick know which ones you're going to go to.
I'm locking into Maryland and BC. And I know those are 2 away games, but it's regional for me. And Sam's in New York, so the BC game does make sense.
It's a train.
I would like to go to that one,
easy.
too. And then here's the caveat for me for the rest of the season. If we can get to 6-0 through Cal, I'll be at Georgia Tech.
Oh, yeah.
If we can get to 7-0, I'll be at Clemson.
Yeah.
This is how this is going to work after that.
Yeah. It's
can't
fun
believe
to
this is
even
my
be
life.
able to. Yeah, it's fun to even be able to entertain that being a thought that's in your brain.
Because listen, it's not. None of these games are given. The Pitt at home, they could beat our ass.
For sure,
they could. But it's not as if any of these games are untouchable. There is no Georgia on the schedule here. There's no true stud. And even Miami, we know they were great this year. Later in the year, They lost to Louisville. They lost to SMU. Like, they almost lost to us 2 years. They actually did lose to us, and the ref stole it from us.
Yeah.
Like, they are going to be beatable without the amazing team that they had. So it is fun.
I would say my locks as of right now are Maryland and Georgia Tech. And depending on how good we are, situationally, I will end up at SMU or Miami. Maybe both. Just depends. I think, though, if you're sitting there...
Bill.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. I'm definitely going to Boston. So Maryland, Boston, and Georgia Tech.
Back-to-back roadies for all of us? That's going to be...
Boston College is going to be so great, man. I'm looking
Red
forward
Sox
to
are on a
Boston
homestand
College.
that week.
Yeah,
I'm looking at trains, Sam.
Looking at
Yeah, we need
trains.
Meet me on Beacon Street, baby. There's a great like German beer bar on. That's Beacon Street, right? The one that leads right down through.
I know nothing about the streets in Boston College, dude. I'll be in
I'm pretty
Boston
sure in
I'll be in
Chestnut Hill,
Boston
that's
proper,
where it is,
Chief. But I'm looking forward to it, guys. It's exciting. We got a lot more to break down as the season goes along. Maybe we'll do some more schedule observations for the ACC. I didn't know we'd go this long, but exciting times. If I can leave you with anything, go look at Florida State's schedule. It is over for Mike Norvell. Tough schedule for the boy. But as always, go Hokies. Have a great week. Stay safe in these cold weathers. Pete, did you have something? You raised your hand a little bit. You got something? Got something?
No, I was giving a wave. I'll see you guys later. Go Hokies.
Good night, everybody.
Go Hokies.